Hello everyone. New Year's is fast approaching and I decided to wear something nice for this party that I've been invited. I went and picked up a dress, but then I went to my craft store and I saw this beautiful material on sale. It's a nice sequined material. I picked up about 6 yards of it and I made sure there is enough salvage at the end. It's all nice and sealed, not frayed away. So make sure if you want to use a sari material, I mean any material for a sari, make sure it is nice and sealed and doesn't poke you inside because you tend to tuck it in, right, for sari. And then for the falls, I picked up about half a meter of satin. I know it looks different than the main material, but once it goes under it as backing, it didn't make any difference. And I couldn't find the exact matching one. And this served the purpose, okay? We do need falls for any sari, so your sari will fall neatly without any issues and the folds will look great. And then for the pallu part, I wanted to do something different, so I picked up this ruffled edged ribbon. So it'll go up in the corner. I'm going to sew it down and then layer in the middle with the sequin one, so it ties up with the sequin theme and it'll cover the stitching. Okay, so this is what is going to go up, and I have my falls all stitched up. It was not quarter, half a yard of plain material that I cut into strips and sewed it up. I made sure I sealed all the edges so nothing frays away in the long run. So I sealed it and I stitched it. So now I'm going to stitch this onto the sari and then stitch this edge also, the border or the pallu part. And I have a black sequin blouse that I plan to wear with this because we can't get blouses stitched here in America. It is expensive, almost $50 to stitch a simple blouse. So I decided I'm going to repurpose my old blouse, a sequin black blouse, with this almost burgundy dark brown sari. Okay, let's see how it turns out. I'm going to first stitch my falls to the sari. I'll show you how. I have a burgundy thread and I'm all set. First, before I do the falls, I wanted to do a picot so my material doesn't fray on me. So let's do with that. I have a nice machine, Kenmore machine that I've been using forever, and I'm not a great seamstress. I just learned it because of necessity, because in America if something is torn or ripped, you have to do it yourself. Of course there are people who can do it, but it's way too expensive. So I've this is just out of necessity, okay, that I learned, and I know the basics. I don't claim to be a great seamstress and I can only do straight stitches, so bear with me. This is a limited one, but I just wanted to teach you how you can make your own sari from scratch with the material you get at your craft store. So I'm going to set my machine to picot. It's a zigzag stitch, as you see it. C is zigzag, and all my settings are in place. So I'm going to start pedaling away. Always hold the first two threads, your bobby and the regular thread. Hold it before you start. Once you start pressing the pedal, make sure this is in your hands and then let go. And then you always lock your initial stitch by going forward and backward. Okay, so that will lock the stitch and not unravel. See how neat it comes. Initially I thought the needle won't go through the sequins, but it is doing beautiful. No issues yet. So I'm done sewing the edge. It turned out beautiful. Had no issues, though we have sequins and the needle went through easy. Next we will stitch the falls. Okay. So in general I have these cushion pins that I use to pin and put both the wrong edges of the material together, the falls and the sari one, and you see how transparent the edge is. So if you wear a underskirt which is slightly small, it's going to show through. So falls does two things. One is it makes the sari fall neatly, another one is it hides the imperfect length between the sari and your underskirt. So so your legs don't show through. Okay, and if you're wearing heels and stuff, it'll definitely show through this transparent stuff, and it's not pretty. So an elegant lady will always wear sari with its falls stitched up, and yeah, let's go ahead and stitch that. So once you start stitching, you'll remove the pins as you go, and yeah, and this sari has a little stretch to it, so one end, the edge, I'm going to stitch it down, and the other edge I'm going to hand sew it down so it'll fall neatly. Otherwise it's going to be a little crumply or ruffled up, and that won't look pretty. So we're going to sew this end and hand sew the other end. It's a long process, but believe me, it's worth it. This is going to be a straight stitch, so I removed that picot zigzag one and I put it to B, which is just a regular stitch. Okay, make sure to do that. Started stitching the falls, but then I realized it wasn't falling neatly. It was crunching up at the back, and it didn't look great because the sari material has a stretch in it. It was causing almost a frill kind of an effect, and I decided to take it apart and then sew it all by hand. I think I'll just do a hemming stitch and we should be good. Okay, so this is a fail, so be careful when you're going to stitch on material. Definitely understand your material and go accordingly. Okay, started sewing my falls to the material by hand. It's taking longer than expected. I have my push pins or cushion pins, and my thread, my needle, and then I got on a flat surface, my dining table actually. I moved the table cover and then I just set myself up so I can have a flat surface. The material is very stretchy, so I had to really be careful how I stitched this, otherwise it was giving me a ruffled look. So let me show you how it looks right now. I just sewed one end. I put a running stitch because I couldn't do the hem yet. I'm gonna see once I finish my running stitch, I will go ahead and do a hemming stitch. So it will take me longer, but I still have days to New Year's, so it'll be done by then. Okay, so it's almost New Year's Eve, and I have few touches left for my sari, and I'm all set. I sewed the falls. I'm gonna sew the pallu part and get ready. I had put a running stitch earlier, and now I'm just sewing it with my machine, getting a straight stitch done. Just sew it well and make sure it doesn't overlap and mess up, so be very careful. And then this kind of, the frill was going in one direction, so I went along this direction instead of the opposite. That wouldn't be practical, so make sure you get it all aligned and well and get sewing. Sometimes you might feel, why bother, right? Just wear a dress, go buy a sari and wear it. But you know, the joy of making something by yourself is tremendous. You have to try it. It may be a simple sari or a simple gown, but when you sew it, but I'm not an expert to sew a gown and all. I just do straight stitches, so a sari works very well with me. So here it is. So I have sewn my frill to the pallu. Not that great a stitcher, but sewer, whatever you call it. But this other one will go on top to close up this so the stitches don't show. So pretend you can see that. I'm going to hand sew it again, and that'll be the last, and I will show you how it looks. So my sari is fully done, and I have 3 options that you can pick from, and let me know which one you liked best. If I'm going to go all out in town and party, I would go with the silver look for this because it's a complementing color, it's contrasting. I have this nice long necklace which has some cubic zirconia, these nice pointy shoes, and the bling handbag or clutch. And if I want to do a little subtle, because this fabric has some peachy undertones, I thought I would do this clutch with some choker which is not too bright, and these bangles and this sandal. This does have some gold undertones, but then it didn't really mess with this theme. So I thought this would be one look. But the final look that I went, because I was going to go for a house party, was this one. And since it's winter, I skipped the blouse that I had, this bling blouse. It was sleeveless and it had a low neck in the back. And I just thought, for winter, I didn't want myself catching a cold and being overexposed. And this kind of had a nice sweater knit look, and it was high neck, so I wore my oxidized jewelry with it, nice choker with these nice chandelier earrings, and they looked really elegant. And I paired them with these shoes, nice pointy shoes, at the same time a nice black bag. It wasn't too blingy. The sari kind of I wanted to show the sari much more than the accessories, and so I picked the subtle blouse and the jewelry to go with this blingy sari. The sari had so much going, I didn't want it to overpower with the accessories, so I kept it all nice and simple. So you can pick and choose whichever you like to go with this. Depends on how well you want to accessorize and stand out in a crowd. And definitely these are an option, but let me know in the comment box which look you like the best and which you did not, and give me suggestions as well. But the frill, everything came so beautifully together. I was very happy and impressed. And do try, go to your fabric store. A sari is about 5.50 yards, and it's actually 5.50 meters, close to 6 yards. Okay, 1 yard is 36 inches, and 1 meter is 39.37 inches, if I'm not mistaken, and 80 inches or centimeters for your blouse. Okay, so this is the sari. I may stitched it myself, so everything looks good, and maybe one day I will wear and show you. Okay, so happy stitching, and keep watching for other videos I will be posting on what I put together. Okay, thank you for watching. Happy New Year, everyone.